Good afternoon on this Saturday, August 21st, 2021. Vlad Forrestal here with World of Weather to update you on the situation that you can clearly see behind me. This is where Hurricane Henri is going to be by this time tomorrow, and it is going to be creating some devastation like we haven't seen, especially in this part of Long Island, in over 30 years. And so, just so crazy how quickly the situation has changed. I mean, we were looking at the storm for quite some time, but it's just so drastic how the track shifted to the west, and now we are all under a hurricane warning. This is the European forecast model, and it is showing that the storm is just off the coast of Long Island. As I scroll a little bit further to around 2 o'clock, it will be right over the southern flank, the South Fork of Long Island, that is. So there's Montauk right there. This is the Hamptons. So the Hamptons is looking to get a direct impact from this storm. This is the eye of Hurricane Henri that will be over Southampton by this time. Here behind me is the GFS model, the Global Forecast System model. It puts the storm just off the coast of Long Island, so it doesn't actually make landfall with this particular model, but all interest will be in Montauk. And it just goes to show, when you have all these different storm forecast models, it helps the meteorologist kind of figure out where to put that cone of uncertainty. So when you have the European model and you have the global forecast model and you have the North American model, which is this one right over here, I'm going to click on that one to show you. It all puts that storm right over eastern Long Island. That's the reason why the concern right now is for people who live on the south-facing shorelines on eastern Suffolk County. You can see that New York City is completely spared from the brunt of the storm. That doesn't necessarily mean that it's not going to be impacted, but it will be spared from the worst. Nonetheless, this whole area is going to be rained on. In fact, the entire New York City area is forecasted to have up to 3 inches of rain, so flooding will be a problem. Now is the latest track from the National Hurricane Center, and they're suggesting that the storm will be just off the coast of Long Island by tomorrow morning at around 8, and it is expected to slowly move. Look at the difference in the time, 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. That's 12 hours, not really moving much. So that's another bad thing about the storm. It's moving very slowly. As it continues, it will hit parts of Connecticut. Connecticut right now is under a state of emergency. New York is under a state of emergency as well, especially for Long Island, and even parts of central New York State, even the Hudson Valley. You guys are not out of the woods because you're going to be getting a lot of rain from this storm, because what's going to happen is that the rain will actually be on the east side of the storm. So New York City, Westchester, Nassau County, you guys are going to be getting a lot of rain from this, and that's going to be a little bit of a problem. Now is the storm surge warning. So right now, most of Long Island is under a storm surge watch or warning. The eastern flank of Long Island, exactly where the storm will be making landfall, is under a storm surge warning, and that means the waters of the Atlantic Ocean will rise up to 3 to 5 feet. So that's 5 feet of ocean water being picked up and upwelled by Hurricane Henri, and that's going to be inundating most of this area, unfortunately. So if you live on the coast, you definitely have to be away from the coast, because that's 5 feet of water that's going to be rising. And even parts of Long Island Sound, you see the North Shore is not out of the woods either. Parts of the North Shore, northern Nassau County, northern Suffolk County, Connecticut, Queens, even parts of Queens is going to be affected by the storm surge too, because what's happening is that water from that hurricane is being pulled in and being pretty much funneled into this area right here. So all the water going in here is going to pretty much create a rise of up to 5 feet of water, unfortunately, for these parts of town. So we're going to see a lot of flooding. So flooding is going to be a big problem with this storm because of the slow moving nature of it. It's happening during high tide, which is the full moon this weekend. So you're going to be dealing with the high tide cycle with the water being pulled in at that time. So it's kind of like a perfect storm for eastern Long Island, of course. And you know, Nassau County, Queens, Brooklyn, and Manhattan, we're going to be getting some impacts too. It won't be as severe as what we had with Sandy, but nonetheless, it will definitely be reminiscent of that. So this is a very localized view of Long Island. So this is pretty much Long Island right here. You have New York City all the way at the far west. You have Nassau County right here. The western Suffolk County is over here. And you see, the further east you go, the more severe the storm impacts are going to be. And you can see that the western portion of Long Island and New York City will be spared from the actual hurricane condition, but don't let that fool you because you're going to be seeing a lot of rainfall. Lots of rain will be enveloping into the side of here, and you're going to be seeing a lot of rain. That's going to be falling. Up to 3 inches of rain will be falling in all this area. In fact, Hudson Valley is actually expected to have up to 3 inches of rain, because what's going to be happening is that this system is going to be integrating with another system, creating somewhat of what we had seen with Superstorm Sandy. It won't be a Superstorm Sandy, but it's a similar type of setup that's going to be happening to create all of the rain that we'll be seeing here for most of the day tomorrow. So tomorrow's going to be a rainy day for the entire tri. So this is a PowerPoint presentation from the National Hurricane Center. So they're pretty much summing up what I just said. It's a hurricane at this point. It is expected to make landfall as a Category 1 hurricane over eastern Long Island into early Sunday afternoon. So we keep emphasizing eastern Long Island because Long Island is big. So it's the eastern section of Long Island, the two forks. Those are the areas that you really have to worry about. New York City beaches, all beaches in New York have been shut down because of the Hurricane Henri. Be heavy. In fact, lots of rain is expected too with the storm. So it's pretty much a very bad scenario altogether. This is showing us the wind potential from Hurricane Henri. So winds are going to be gusting at 75 miles per hour tomorrow. And so Sunday morning into the early afternoon, that's the worst of the storm. It will be raining all day starting tonight at around 11 o'clock, but it will continue. We'll start seeing the rain bands approach here just after 11 o'clock, but then it will get worse and worse. And the impacts will be a lot less in New York City. Thank goodness. New York City really does not need to have, given everything that we've went through these past 18 months, New York City honestly doesn't need to have a direct landfalling hurricane at this time. This is good news for people who live in New York City. New York City is very dynamic. It's a very large populated area. It's the largest city in the country. The real concern for this is the rain. Unfortunately, there's gonna be a lot of rainfall because the rain will be wrapping around more on the western side of the storm, which is actually kind of unusual for a hurricane, but that's because you're having some influences with another storm system that will be kind of interjecting itself into Hurricane Henri. So that's why you're gonna see a lot of rainfall in parts west of the storm. But nonetheless, still gotta keep your guard up because there's still low-lying areas where rain could be falling for a long period of time, which could produce some flash flooding. Behind me is the storm surge threat. Unfortunately, this storm is gonna produce a lot of water. No way around that one. Unfortunately, the ocean waters are gonna rise up to 5 feet in some areas, 3 to 5 feet on the east end of Long Island. Even in Long Island Sound, which is away from the storm center, could see up to 5 feet of water rise there. The southern facing shorelines of Nassau, Queens, up to 4 feet of water expected. Even in New York City, the New York Harbor could see up to 2 feet of rising water. And that's devastating because it's so sudden to be seeing all of this water. And because of this is all coinciding with the high tide, with the full moon, and that's the reason why this is such a concern. Hopefully it won't be as bad in the city. We don't expect it to be like Sandy, but nonetheless, you gotta be prepared to see some rise of waters in New York City. But of course, all interest will be on that east end of Long Island with up to 5 feet of water expected. So this is the flash flooding threat right now. So people who live in central Long Island can expect to have up to 7 inches of rain. So if you are not if you're not on the coast of Long Island, you won't be dealing with the storm surge, but you'll be dealing with the 7 inches of rain that could be falling in your area. So if you are in central part of the island, there's no escape there either. You could still deal with some severe heavy rainfalls in those areas. You can see the central part of Long Island right there with the orange, which would indicate that it could be anywhere between 6 to 10 inches of rain. The entire area is under a flood watch. So that's because we just don't know exactly where this track will be. So unfortunately, this entire region is under a flood watch. So rains could be very heavy. And that's the nature of tropical systems. They dump such a large amount of rain in such a short period of time that a flood watch has been issued for the entire area. I just want to show you what's going to be the situation following Sunday. So on Monday morning, the storm is expected to be over western Massachusetts, and eventually will start moving slowly. It will dissipate quite quickly because it'll be over land for such a long time. So it won't really have time to remain a hurricane at that point. So by Monday morning, it will be a tropical storm. By Monday evening, 8 o'clock, it should be a depression. By this point, parts of New York will be clearing out, will be sunny, you know, toward the end of the day on Monday, and unfortunately it's gonna be very hot. This storm system will be pulling a lot of hot air, a lot of summery air that's gonna be following the storm system. So when you start cleaning up from this, especially parts of eastern Long Island, when they start revealing the damages, you're gonna be seeing a lot of heat. It's gonna be a very bad situation for people who live out there when it comes to cleaning up. Right now, you're looking at the tropical outlook for the entire Atlantic basin. You can see Hurricane Henri, which is about to impact Long Island. This is Tropical Storm Grace, which has already made landfall in Mexico as a Category 3 storm. It is causing lots of damage right now in Mexico City, lots of rainfall happening right now as we speak over Mexico City, mudslides. It's gonna be pretty devastating for them. And of course, you have another system right here, another area of concern, which could potentially develop, but right now, it is expected to actually remain just a tropical wave with no development possible right now because of the wind shear that's happening right now over the far eastern part of the Atlantic Ocean, just over the Cabo Verde Islands. So it is not expected to be developing, at least not in the next 48 hours. So that's gonna be some good news as we take a break from all these storms. Hurricane Henri is what we're gonna be focused on right now. That's gonna be impacting parts of Long Island tomorrow. And I'm actually gonna be on Long Island today. I'm gonna be driving out there to be with my mom and brother. We'll be there, we'll ride the storm out. I feel that we are in an area that is not prone to flooding. We live in the center part of Nassau. We're in the western part of Nassau County as well, North Baldwin. So that area is not really prone to flooding. But nonetheless, the drainage, if you have any drains, you definitely want to clear the drains out. I'm not expecting to see too much damage in parts of western Nassau. The brunt of the storm will definitely be on the eastern part of Long Island. So of course, nonetheless, we'll have to be vigilant. We'll have to, you know, be there for our loved ones and be there to support them in any situation like this. And that's the reason why I'm going to be going to Nassau to be with them, just to be safe, and we'll ride the storm out together. Hopefully the storm won't be as bad in where we are, but nonetheless, you don't know what to expect. The track could suddenly change. That's the thing. This is why the storm was so difficult to forecast. And this storm will make history because of the difficulty in its forecast. You know, normally when you have these storms, you have a forecast that's kind of like on point, but this one has been so uncertain. The track was definitely crazy these past couple of days. In fact, it was just yesterday we were expecting the storm to go to Boston, and now it's going to be heading to eastern Long Island. So that just goes to show how things could change at a moment's notice. So that's life. We'll get through it. Black Barstow here. Thank you for watching. I'll do some more videos as I get closer to the time the storm arrives. I'll do some live videos like I did back in 2012 for Hurricane Sandy to update you on the situation at hand on Long Island. Vlad Parcel, thanks for watching.